I am here today with Laurent Jossart, who is the CEO of Liège Airport. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
We are very pleased to welcome you to Cargoland, where freight meets magic. You can see we have everything about basically, we have a castle, the tour of control, and we have lots of nice toys, playing toys, flying toys. So welcome to Cargoland.
Thank you so much. And indeed, we are here to find out even more about these very impressive operations and your cargo character. So what would you say are the unique challenges you face at Liège? And how did you carve out that speciality?
But I mean, we are specialized in cargo since ages. So we have a very limited number of packs, and we have no packs ambitions, by the way. So we are specialists. So we are really focused. When we welcome a company, we can offer the central location in Europe. We can offer the fact that we are open H24. We can offer the fact that we have lots of land that are available for the expansion. But most in Cargoland, we really give dedication. So it means that we help the airlines to feed their main deck. We really put, I would say, everyone together. The logisticians, the freight forwarders, the airline. We are really taking care of the import and the export, just to make sure that our clients will fly with basically a maximum payload. And we have also a dedicated team, H24, that is taking care of the operations of our clients, because when you're a cargo airline, you need basically to arrive whenever you want, to leave when it's basically when you would like to, so you have to facilitate their operations. So we are an operational facilitator, and we give commercial support to our clients.
So every cargo airport, just like Liège, has certain features and strengths that really kind of play to your advantage. So what would you say for Liège are the kind of key advantages that you have, and how do they shape your overall operations?
I have to say that as we are quite a big airport, we are probably the biggest full freighter airport in Europe. What is basically the advantage compared to other big giant airports like the Frankfurt, the Amsterdam, or the Paris of this world is that we have no congestion. I mean, we have no taxiing, you have no holding, you have no slots issues. So it's really the freedom of operations for the clients. On top of that, we are open H24 without limitation to do. That's quite a privilege in Europe. And the fact that we are also focused is that when you have basically some arbitration to do in a normal airport, it always go to PAX, because the PAX are crying loud, not the boxes. And then when you have not enough capacities, you ask maybe the cargo aircraft to go elsewhere. Here we have only cargo aircraft, so we are really focused. So I would say no congestion, lots of space, no slots, and really a big care to the clients, and in a framework on an H24 operation.
That really sounds like a dream for your clients that come in to have so many advantages.
It's not a dream, it's just Cargoland, where everything is being possible. All your cargo dreams can basically come true in Liège Airport.
You must have some cargo that is a little bit more difficult than others. So be it perishables, live animals, or other kind of unique cargo situations. So how specifically do you deal with handling these more difficult cargoes?
So we basically have 5 handlers, quite well-known handlers that are internationally very well-known. So that's basically their business to cater for the handling for the clients, the airlines. And what we try to do is to put basically good infrastructure at disposal. For instance, we have Horse Inn, an horse hotel that we basically built, and it's basically managed by a handler. We also built handling warehouse that sublease to the handlers, and we try to basically cater with cool facilities or basically bypass, to accelerate the transit of the goods to the airport. So we do not handle per se, but we try to facilitate the work of the handlers by building the good infrastructure. We work hand in hand with the customs, and we work very closely also with the sanitary authorities, because I mean all the import has to go to some kind of control. So we have some digitalization. some tools that basically facilitate the control by the authorities. So it might increase the efficiency for the handlers, and it also reduces the transit time at the airport. That's also quite something that makes the success of Liège Airport, is the digital tool we offer to the community.
Infrastructure and processes are, of course, as you mentioned, essential. But there's also the human side of things. And specifically for a cargo-focused airport, that can sometimes present more challenges. For instance, night shifts or other kinds of work that might be more difficult to recruit and train for. So how do you maintain a collaborative culture across your staff? And how do you look after your staff well-being?
You are right. We are in an H24 environment with very nice nights in the summer, but you have also a very long night in the winter. So, I mean, it's quite a harsh work environment. So we really care. We basically propose lots of facilities, I would say, to our staff. We do lots of activities or parties outside the job hours. We give tickets to a theater or to the cinema. We have also a very, I would say, intensive hiring process where we do not really hire people with the skills, but also with the mindset, because the fit in the company culture is extremely important. We do basically lots of, I would say, interaction between the HR department and the various departments just to make sure that everything goes well. So we really take care of the well-being of our people, because we know today that we have scarce resources on the market. So we have to look to the people, and we have just to make sure that talents are staying at home. So HR today is probably one of the most important things in the management of a company. And we have also a turnover that is quite very low. So it's probably a way to assess the way we manage the company. We can see the turnover is quite low, so we can basically believe that the satisfaction is quite high, I would say. And so we are also in the press for the good things and for the bad things, unfortunately. But also you work for a company that is basically meaningful, that is important, that is very well known. And so I believe that people are quite proud to work for the airport for that reason.
Airports must continually innovate to stay ahead of the game. So in what ways is Liège Airport preparing for future uncertainties or just whatever will come in the near and far future? Maybe you could give us a sneak peek of any innovations or technologies.
Yeah, I would say that in terms of innovation, I could give two examples. As you know, we are open H24. So, I mean, some people living around the airports might have claims around the airport. So with the Walloon regions or shareholders, we launched 20 years ago a very ambitious plan to buy houses or to protect houses against the noise. It's a 400 million plan, so it's really probably the most ambitious in the world. And it continues today, and it basically enabled the airport to live quite well with the neighborhood. You had, for instance, local election 1 year ago, and in none of the 18 cities around the airport was really a topic for the election process. So it means that we are basically living in a peaceful environment. And if you compare with other big airports, I will not give any names, that might be quite different, where the inhabitants or cities are basically claiming against the airport. So we might say it's a kind of innovation. It's an ambitious and an expensive, but it's really innovative compared to 99% of the airport in the world. In the business, we are investing massively in the digitalization, basically to ease the process for the handler, for the customs, and for the sanitary authorities, just to make sure that we can basically identify 10 hours before the aircraft is arriving what is in the aircraft, what the authorities want to control, where they want to control it. And so it's quite efficient. So digitalization, 5G is also a big investment. So clearly we might differentiate through the efficiency of the process via an investment in the digitalization. And we do that on our own for the community because we believe that what is good for the community is good for us. It's a way to increase the business. And so if we do that, by the way, we will get the revenue from the other side. So it's a virtuous circle, I would say.
I think it's really interesting that you're addressing future uncertainties through investing in the community around you. It's a really nice thing to hear. Cargo can sometimes get a little wild, and I mean that quite literally. Can you tell me about the most exotic or your favorite thing that has ever come through Liège Airport?
We basically, in big cargo aircraft, you can basically transport huge things, very heavy things. Probably the most exotic ones are the animals. So we have giraffe, dwarf giraffe. We have zoo animals like tigers, like lions, and even long time ago we had dolphins. You know, imagine in a kind of aquarium with water, so that's quite sophisticated. So that was probably the most impressive things was basically the dolphins that were being transported. But you have also, I would say, a piece of material for the drilling, fuel drilling. It might be 30 meters long, you know, and it goes via the nose of a 747. So it's very spectacular because you cannot really work with crane. So we use specific material, so it takes hours. It has not to damage the interior of the aircraft. You have lots of features just to keep into account, like the good balance of the aircraft. So the animals and the very heavy of the very long things are quite impressive.
Looking back over the last 12 months, could you tell me the achievement that you're most proud of at Liège Airport?
I would say probably not the growth per se, because, you know, we are growing since years and we are becoming probably the biggest full freighter airport in Europe. But what we are the most proud of is basically the growth of the ecosystem. A few years ago, there were 30 airlines. Now there are 55 airlines. And freight forwarder logisticians, we are also coming from 25, and now there are 65. So you have basically a growing community of operators, custom clearance provider, a consultant, a specialist. And the strength of an airport is really its community, its diversity. And you have basically, as an airport operator, it's a bit like a chef d'orchestre. You have to make them work all together, and you have to enrich the community by giving digital tools, but also by trying to look at in the same direction and to basically manage positively the energy. So it's really probably the ecosystem we have succeeded to create and to develop. And that's probably the big difference between Liège now and the Liège 3 years ago is the strength of the ecosystem.
I think it's really clear that community is truly at the heart of everything you do.
Yeah, definitively. Community is really it's really what makes your success.
So, Laurent, could you maybe give us a sneak peek of where you see Liège Airport in the near future and in 10 or 20 years' time?
You know, we have a very ambitious master plan, what we call the master plan 2023-2040. So it's a 15-year master plan with a big chunk of money, 500 million, to double the size of the airport. So we are now 1.3 million tons of cargo, and we aim to reach 2.5 million. So it's really to be the top one in Europe. It's very challenging today because you need permit, you need to finance that, you need to be very disciplined in basically the operations and the financing of that. But it would really enable the airport to go to the top ranking in Europe. So that's probably one of the projects where we basically put lots of our forces. And we are very proud of that because we are probably the only one airport in Europe that has that ambition to increase its cargo. Most of the projects you can see are in the passenger area. We are focused on cargo. And we have also, hopefully, the land to grow. Other airports, you have scarcity of land. And when you have a few lands available, you put an additional passenger terminal. We are focused. And that's probably the most ambitious project definitively in Europe. In the world, I have to say that when you see what happens in the Middle East or in Turkey, it's even difficult to compare. I mean, it's not 500 million, but it's 5 billion, and it's huge. But in Europe, clearly, we are totally a different animal than the other because we are ambitious, we have the financial means, and we have the land available.
So, Laurent, thank you so much. I think this interview will be incredibly valuable for airports already in freight and any airports looking to expand their cargo operations. So, thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thank you for coming and taking some time with us at Cargoland, where freight meets magic.